This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Better, much better.
Odd technology.
And, yes. And by the way, really nice move by the Heat today. Unload that salary that's been just an albatross, and pick up a player that you desperately needed in so many ways. Not so much running the offense, but, I always joke around, and I mean it too at the same time, that the Heat at times is too much of a 2-point team in a 3-point world. And you added at least another piece that can help you out from the arc, which, in this league, the math doesn't work if you keep trading 2s for 3s. It makes it so harder for you. So at least you added a guy that can handle the ball, run the offense for you, score from 3. So it helps you in many ways.
Well, he's still more of a 2-point shooter. So, I mean, that's the thing. He still is a mid-range guy. Big O, to me, there's
right? Isn't it 35% from 3-point range?
He is, but it's not necessarily a high volume. Most of his shots come from the 2-point area. So you're still going to have that. To me, the bigger point of the trade is this. You've traded whale harpooning for living in the moment. By trading one of your 2 future first-round picks, you only have a 2030 pick available. So talk of Luka Doncic, talk of Donovan Mitchell if he decides Cleveland doesn't finish well. So I think Heat Nation, it comes down to this. Are you more concerned about living in the moment? You and I speak about it on our Accurate Pembroke Pines report, protecting the Jimmy Butler years, however many there might be, versus taking a long-range view. They took the long-range view for Donovan Mitchell before. It didn't happen. They took the long-range view for Damian Lillard. Didn't happen. This is a move where the Heat are saying, now, we're going to match the Knicks with OG and Anunoby. We're going to match the Pacers with Pascal Siakam. We're going to be living in the moment right now. This is going to cost you in the offseason. When people are talking about trades and 2 and 3 first-round picks, right now, all the Heat have to offer is a 2030 pick. But here's the other part, Big O. The pick is protected in 27, not in 28. The Heat at the moment have 2 unprotected first-round picks in circulation. If they don't wind forwarding one to the Thunder in 25, it's unprotected in 26. So they're also gambling on themselves that they will continue to remain relevant. They will continue to remain a playoff team. It's a risk. Some teams don't take these risks. The Heat are living in the moment. This trade was made solely for 2024. They can move off of Rozier's contract just like they moved off of Kyle Lowry's contract. But this is another case of the Heat living in the moment.
I think you can live in the moment. Why? I don't want Donovan Mitchell anymore. Why? Because I think Jaquez is going to turn into that guy. I don't need you to stop his progress. And you're already developing Jovic. And you have Bam. And you have Tyler. And you have Caleb. I don't know if you're going to hang on to Caleb yet or anything. Or maybe he's part of a trade piece for the next move. But you have enough young guys that we've talked about this already.
Right.
I'm tired of all this, go for the older guy and try to hang on. Man, you're drafting well. You're developing well. I think you stay on this path. Don't you have your first round pick this year?
You do have your first round pick this year. And
I don't have a problem watching you guys draft and develop and let contracts expire and get the hell out of here and have a little bit more flexibility if you can overall. I don't have a problem with that, man.
Well, it's interesting also because you mentioned Caleb Martin. If you move off Caleb Martin now and say, hey, we have our Caleb Martin, his name is Haywood Highsmith. He's going to be cheaper. It'll be easier to keep in the offseason. You now can get below the first apron of the luxury tax, which means you can then get any buyout player other than Kyle Lowry on the buyout market. So what the Heat are going to have to say to themselves between now and February 8th is this. Are we better off opening ourselves to any and every buyout possibility by moving off Caleb Martin, maybe for a draft choice? Or is Caleb better than any buyout player who's going to be out there? And there are going to be interesting buyout players on the market.
That was going to be the question.
I'm not a huge Gordon Hayward fan, so I don't know if I would go in that direction. But there are going to be other pieces who are out there. Danilo Gallinari, for example. He's a guy you could add in the buyout market and might say, you know what? Unlike Caleb, he's a stretch 4, and we can go in that direction. The one thing about the Heat,
Can I count on him to stay healthy for 2 weeks? Danilo?
Can you count on Tyler Hero to stay healthy for 2 weeks? So, that's going to be an
He's
ongoing thing.
already on the roster. I can't do anything about that. Adding Danilo, I can't trust that guy's body to hold up, dude. I mean, Humpty Dumpty's more healthy than that guy.
Well, you're going to have issues, but you know what, Big O, we've learned, even from Kyle Lowry, move A typically leads to move B down the road. And I'll say it this way. The Kyle Lowry contract for 3 years was never a great deal, 3 at 85. But in year one, you went to the Eastern Conference Finals, got within a shot of the finals. You did. I'm not saying it was because of Kyle, but you did. In year two of Kyle, you got to the NBA Finals. I'm not going to say it's because of Kyle. He wasn't even starting. And in year three, you turned him into an asset. Look at all those Heat long-term contracts previously. Okay, Big O? Hassan Whiteside's final year turns into part of the Jimmy Butler year. You could look at James Johnson and Dion Waiters. The final years of their contracts turn into Iguodala and a rental of Jay Crowder and the 2020 NBA Finals. So you have maximized end of contracts when everyone said James Johnson, bad contract. When everyone says Dion Waiters, bad contract. When everyone's saying Hassan Whiteside, bad contract. When everyone was saying Kyle Lowry, bad contract. Going to be interesting now. Are the end of the Jimmy Butler contract years going to be flipped, or are they going to ride that one out? The one thing the Heat have shown, they can get off of bad money. So it comes down to what you think bad money is.
Oh, yeah. They've been doing it forever. We never thought they could get rid of Brian Grant and Eddie Jones. And he was able to move those contracts. He moved that forward Anderson, right? Didn't he
Ryan Anderson? No, that was actually to get off money. It cost you a first-round pick, and then you wound up getting a player who you had, AJ Hammond, who you wound up waiving anyway. Look, there were some bad ones. The Anderson was bad, but that was taking on to get rid of Tyler Johnson's money. So you're constantly flipping money. So the one thing with the Heat, I will say this, and it really is true, it's never over till it's over. When you say Hassan Whiteside couldn't be any worse of a contract, they made it work. Dion, James Johnson, and now Kyle Lowry. They have a way of getting out of the other side of that rabbit hole.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. The Dion one was terrible from the get-go because you knew he had to have surgery, and you still gave him a contract. You were competing against yourself. That one just didn't make any sense to me. But overall, I love this move. I love this move for the Heat overall. I think it was a terrific move, something that you desperately needed on this team. And you added a little speed, too, also to the offense.
And youth, and you got 8 years younger. Yes, and that matters when you have Jimmy Butler and you have Kevin Love and you have Josh Richardson. Hey, for the Heat to get anyone on the underside of 30 is a step forward when it comes to this team. So now two things are going to happen. Will Tyler Hero willingly give up shots? Because Tyler likes him some shots. We'll see how the chemistry works with Terry Rozier in an undersized.
About his feelings. I don't worry. If I'm Spo, I'm going to do what's best for the Heat and not worry about Tyler Hero's feelings, dude. I mean,
So that's number one. You're going to have to see
everybody else's feelings when he's out with injuries and, leaving his team in the lurch. No.
Well, you're going to have to see how it works. Chemistry matters, number one. Number two, I think with Jaime coming back also, plus with Terry, I think Josh Richardson could honestly fall out of the rotation. Now, he's on a minimum deal, and that's life in the NBA. And obviously, if Josh had a better deal somewhere else for more money, he would have taken it, or something even similar with playing time. He's going to have to deal with that. But you know what? I wouldn't go as far as saying it got toxic with Kyle, but there was a bad vibe there. And you want to excise that from your locker room. And clearly, he wasn't happy. He never was a Heat culture guy. He never was a body fat guy. He never was a weigh-in guy. So you had to move off of that also. So I think what they did is they cleared the air to a bit also. Look, Big O, from last Friday through Sunday in Orlando, it was just, there was something going on there with Kyle and the benching, and it didn't sit right. Now Eric Spoelstra can say, hey, I'm moving on from that. We got a guy who wants to be here. And if you're Terry Rozier and you were going back to the lottery, you had a zero chance for the playoffs. You had lame duck ownership because Michael Jordan sold to a different group. God, I like Steve Clifford as a person a lot, but he's a lame duck coach. He's walking dead there when it comes to the new ownership getting the coach that they want.
He's in a real franchise now. He's got to Terry Rozier's got to be. He's in a warm place and he's in a real franchise.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
he gets to be where he wants. He was part of that trade from Boston for Kemba Walker when the Celtics were down a little. So I think there's a lot of parties who are in a better place.
Didn't he get a raise by coming to a no tax state? Or wait, North Carolina's also no tax, I think.
Well, and also he got a raise when he got his contract there. He's still being paid well. So I don't think for Terry it's about the money. I think for Terry it's about the opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. I love the move. It's exactly what Miami needed, overall. And by the way, could he become a slightly better three-point shooter with the coaching here? Because I know he makes like 2 or 3 a game. He takes like 7 and makes 2 or 3 a game, which is a nice clip overall. Could he become a slightly better three-point shooter here? Because everybody fundamentally becomes better here.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see how Spoelstra redoes the lineup, redoes the rotation. Does Jaime Jaquez come back as a starter? Does Jaime Jaquez come back as a reserve? You're reconfiguring. You're doing stuff on the move. And I got to tell you, Big O, except for the Wednesday game against Memphis, you're talking about upcoming games against the Celtics national TV, the Knicks national TV, the Clippers national TV coming up, the Suns, the Kings. I wrote that in my Ask Ira today. This schedule gets really tough. Terry Rozier is going to have to hit the ground running because this schedule is going to demand better play than the absolute crap we've seen from the Heat against the Raptors, against the Hawks, and against the Magic. They have to be better against those teams than they were against the previous teams.
But a dude like that is going to be so pumped to be a part of this. So his life got better. He's a competitor, and now he gets
a trade boost. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, thank you for joining us. Big news. Appreciate it. Have a fantastic week, sir. We will catch up next week.
Always here, fast and first on the Acura Pembroke Pines Report. Thank you, Big O.
Thank you, sir. There you go. Ira Winderman and Acura Pembroke Pines. Get on down to 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 and Pines. And let me tell you something. If you own or lease an Acura, you can go on down there, go talk to Mike Chan or Jordan Ferber. They will take care of you, and they will take care of your Acura like they take care of mine. It's customer appreciation sales event going on right now. And the 2024 Integra, you can get it for $329 a month. The 2023 TLX, $399 a month. The 2024 RDX, $459, and the 2024 MDX, $499. Get on down to the #1 volume sales dealership in the United States. It is Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. We talk football with David Furones next.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.